Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So last week I headed out to Duff Court in Lachine for a nice relaxing paint session. No crazy weather, no rain, no wind trying to knock my cans over, no freezing temperatures, just a beautiful Montreal summer day. It was about 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 86 Fahrenheit, but luckily this wall was in the shade, so I was actually pretty comfortable to paint. For this piece I wanted to keep things simple, have some fun, and try a new sketching technique I saw on Tresem TV's YouTube channel. And honestly, it worked way better than I expected. So let's get into it. Hey gang, what is going on? My name's S1, I'm a writer from Montreal, Canada, and I'm here in Lachine today at Duff Court, ready to rock things out, but I got a new trick up my sleeve, right? If you guys have been following me for a while, you know I like to get some straight bars about a can's width. So what I'm gonna do, I saw this in a video recently, I'm gonna tape 3 cans together, side by side, and use 2 caps to draw all my lines. You think it's gonna work? Stick with me, we'll check it out. Boom! Like always, everything started at home in Procreate. I sketched the piece out, figured out my colors, came up with a rough plan, and then I headed out. When I arrived at the wall, the first thing I noticed was the condition of the surface. There were lots of old layers of paint peeling off, and if you painted long enough, you know that's never a good sign. If you paint directly over loose paint, there's always a chance your fresh work is eventually going to peel away with it. So before I even touched a spray can, I grabbed my scraper and started removing all those chunks. It's not the most exciting part of painting, but it's definitely worth taking the extra few minutes. Now this is the part I was the most curious about. Recently I was watching a video from Tresem TV, and I saw him using multiple spray cans taped together to create parallel sketch lines. Since I like my bars to be fairly consistent in width, I figured I'd give it a shot. So I taped 3 spray cans together side by side, nothing fancy, just 3 cans and some tape, and then I started sketching. Honestly, I was shocked by how fast it was. Usually when I'm sketching letters, I'm constantly thinking about keeping the bar width consistent. With this setup, that work was basically done for me. The sketch went up in just a few minutes. Now, it wasn't perfect. The bars ended up being a little thinner than I wanted, but that's not really a problem because you can always whiten things up afterwards. If anything, it's easier to make bars bigger than it is to make them smaller. So overall, I'd call it a success. Next time I think I'm going to tape 4 cans together instead of 3 and see what happens. Maybe that'll get me even closer to the bar width I'm looking for. Sometimes the best way to improve is just experimenting and seeing what works. Now once the sketch was finished, I moved on to the structure. One thing I almost always do is establish my 3D early. That way I know exactly where everything is going and I can visualize the finished piece before I start filling the colors. For this piece, I used my usual focal point, bottom middle. Every 3D line was pulled towards that point. It's a simple technique, but it creates consistency throughout the piece. Even with all the loops, connections, and movement, everything feels connected because the perspective is working together. Once those lines were drawn in, the framework of the piece was basically finished. Now it was time to make it pop. For the background, I wanted something bright and energetic. I wanted it to feel like the letters were glowing, so I started with a light yellow. Then I came back with a darker yellow and blended it into the lighter yellow. Finally, I grabbed orange and worked tight around the edges of the piece. When I stepped back, I could almost see a sunburst exploding from behind the letters. With the background done, it was finally time to start filling in the letters. For this one, I stayed entirely in the teal family. I love working with multiple shades of the same color because it keeps everything cohesive while still creating depth. The lighter teals went inside the letters. The medium shades were used in the connection bars, and the darkest tones were saved for the loops and flowing extensions around the piece. That simple variation creates a lot of visual movement without making the piece feel overly complicated. As the fill started coming together, the piece really began to take shape. At this point, all the hard work is done. Time for one of my favorite parts, the outline. For this piece, I use luminous green, and if you've watched this channel for a while, you already know how much I love this color. It's light, it's bright, it's aggressive, and it instantly grabs attention. As soon as that outline went around the piece, everything came alive. The letters separated from the background and the whole piece became much more readable. After that, I fill the 3D using turquoise tones. I work from darker shades into the lighter shades to create a smooth transition and add a bit more dimension. Nothing too complicated, just enough variation to keep things interesting. Sometimes simple color choices end up being the strongest. And just like that, the piece was done. No weather problems, no equipment issues, no unexpected surprises, just a smooth paint session from start to finish. Honestly, those days are pretty rare. Most of the time, there's some kind of challenge waiting for you. But every once in a while, you get a session where everything works exactly the way it's supposed to. And this was one of those days. I was really happy with how the sunburst background turned out. And I'm definitely going to experiment more with the multiple can sketching technique. Let me know in the comments what you think of the piece, and also let me know if you've ever tried the multi-can sketch method yourself. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you do what you do. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here, and I'll see you in the next one. Till next time, stay up!